So with the new Spider-Man ride, Web Slingers, now officially open at Disney California Adventure, I think it's about time that we all turn our attention on over to the Iron Man themed roller coaster that's going to be opening next year at Disneyland Paris. So for today, let's dive into an everything that we know update about this attraction. Up next. Hi there Waltoneers, I'm Jack and this is of course DSNY Newscast, and before we get started be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to the channel, hit that notification bell if you've already subscribed, and with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into it. As on June 4th, the brand new Avengers Campus opened at Disney California Adventure, and understandably it received a ton of media attention as after all, it is Disney's first ever Marvel themed land. However, it won't be the last. As you see, Disney is also busy constructing an Avengers Campus in Walt Disney Studios Park at Disneyland Paris. But where the Avengers Campus received some mixed reactions in California as a result of the multi-phased opening strategy, which created a cooling off period between Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakouts opening in 2017 and then Web Slingers opening in 2021. I truly believe that this will not be the case with Disneyland Paris, as this Avengers Campus will remedy many of the challenges that the California version faced, as it will be opening as a cohesive, complete transformation, with just as many new restaurants and stores as there will be attractions. As Disneyland Paris will also be getting the family-friendly interactive Spider-Man Web Slings attraction, but in addition to that, for the first time ever anywhere in the world, Disney will be opening an Iron Man themed roller coaster. But unlike the construction for the Web Slings attraction in Disneyland Paris that saw the demolition of the old Armageddon show building and a completely new build from the ground up, the Iron Man roller coaster is actually a reimagining of Rock 'n' Roller Coaster featuring Aerosmith. Although this really isn't your typical rethemed attraction project, but instead it is keeping the core high-intensity, extremely popular roller coaster design that guests have loved for nearly 2 decades, and is then plussing the experience in every single way. So much so that former Imagineer Jim Shull, who was the Imagineering creative director for Rock 'n' Roller Coaster at Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris, has stated on the DLP Report podcast that he considers this Iron Man roller coaster to be a completely new attraction, because just how radically it's enhanced the Paris version of Rock 'n' Roller Coaster. So if the Imagineer that worked on Rock 'n' Roller Coaster is excited about these changes, then needless to say, that's enough validation for me. But now let's get into what we know so far about this Iron Man themed roller coaster. And in terms of official details, surprisingly Disney has not said much beyond this very short snippet from February 2018 when it was announced, touting it as a high-speed, hyperkinetic adventure where guests will team up with Iron Man and their favourite Avengers. However, we did receive these pieces of concept art throughout 2019 of the overall Avengers Campus area, although they were not accompanied by much in the way of new details about the Iron Man roller coaster. So instead, we've been left to good old-fashioned deductive reasoning to uncover and learn more about this attraction. As first of all, we can see that the exterior facade is getting a major facelift, as before it was just a massive billboard, which was severely lackluster compared to the larger-than-life Fender Stratocaster that wraps around the courtyard in Walt Disney World. But now, at long last, this fan-favourite roller coaster is getting the attraction facade that it deserves, with this glowing LED backlit semicircular mesh structure that I think is supposedly representing an arc reactor with electromagnetic energy pulsing throughout. And in terms of the story, it would make sense that this kinetic energy is what is being harnessed to power the new type of multi-person Iron Man armor technology that we can see here within the brand new themed roller coaster train designs. But that's not all, as we've recently received all new pieces of concept art thanks to Twitter user the Sequoia Gang, which I've been able to confirm are official artwork even though they are unreleased. And it gives us an updated look at the pre-show and queue area, which we had only previously seen depicted in this lower resolution artwork released by Disney in February 2018. But excitingly, this new concept art seemingly offers further confirmation that there will be some sort of animatronic Iron Man figure featured within the elaborate pre-show for the attraction, along with advanced technology on display within the rest of the queue as well. And speaking of the actual roller coaster itself, we have this piece of concept art that uses a dose of artistic license to depict the on-ride experience, as we can see now that we won't just be accompanying Iron Man, but also Captain Marvel and other Avengers as well. And the way that this will be made possible is through the use of massive projection walls and screens that have already begun to be installed inside the Gravity building, as we can see here. As previously, Rock and Roller Coaster at Disneyland Paris only had a few physical set pieces that were themed to a concert stage instead of the Hollywood theming that you see in Hollywood studios. But what I think is great about this multimedia approach is that if Disney want to incorporate the newer characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the future, then it will make it even easier to update the attraction, similar to how Space Mountain received the Hyperspace Mountain overlay back in 2017. However, there is one thing which I haven't really seen discussed all too much about this Iron Man roller coaster, and that's the music. As one of the biggest elements of Rock and Roller Coaster was the incredible high-energy soundtrack coupled with the high-intensity roller coaster. And of course, Disney will surely be using some of the instrumental movie score for this ride, most likely within the queue and pre-show areas. But there's a very real possibility that Disney could license AC/DC's music for the on-board soundtrack, and that has me extremely interested, as the prospect of launching from 0 to 60 miles per hour to Thunderstruck, Shoot to Thrill or War Machine would be an amazing experience. And I don't think it's unrealistic to maybe expect this, as after all, Disney did license the use of Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Pat Benatar, I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 and Burning Love by Elvis Presley for Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. So potentially if they were to use AC/DC's music, this would maintain the core rock and roll elements of the attraction whilst also injecting a popular IP that would keep this roller coaster relevant for many more years to come. And in actual fact, that's not all when it comes to Iron Man, as the former Blockbuster Cafe that's opposite the attraction is being converted as part of Avengers Campus into a yet to be named quick service restaurant, which will have a life-size Hulkbuster suit on display with other subtle design changes that better elicit Tony Stark's workshop. And then the former Restaurant de Stars will be transformed into a PIM test kitchen, as can be seen here, complete with a much more elaborate quantum tunnel themed entrance. But the interesting thing here will be to see how the PIM test kitchen idea translates, as in California it's a quick service dining option with very limited seating, whereas Restaurant de Stars always offered a buffet table service option instead. So once again, I personally feel that the Paris version of Avengers Campus is plussing what we've already been able to see in California. And then lastly for today, we come to the construction side of things. As we can see here, thanks to DLP report, that the exterior for the Iron Man coaster is really beginning to come together with the beams in place and the semicircular metal architectural piece constructed and now awaiting the mesh framework to be installed. Then the newly constructed show building for Web Slingers A Spider-Man Adventure has already begun to receive its theming for the aged and dilapidated warehouse aesthetic. And then here we can see an overview of the entire campus taking shape, seen in these images by Alexandra Roja Photography. And by the looks of things at the current state of progress, it should comfortably meet its opening time frame of 2022. So that's everything that we know so far about the Iron Man roller coaster and the Avengers Campus at Disneyland Paris. But I'll be sure to come back and update you all when new details are released in the future, or with a construction update later on in the year. But now it's over to you, Waltoniers. I would like to know, as always, what are your thoughts and opinions about this Iron Man themed roller coaster coming to Disneyland Paris, and also if you could re-theme an existing attraction in any one of the Disney parks to a Marvel IP, much like they're doing with Rock and Roller Coaster to Iron Man, then what would it be and how would you do it? And of course, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere in today's video along with your suggestion or your comment, so therefore that way you're in the chance to win these official Waltoneer Avengers inspired pins. And congratulations to this Waltoneer here for winning this suggestion from a previous video where it's giving an in-depth analysis about Avengers Campus in Disney California Adventure. And so that's it for today, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to the channel, hit that notification bell if you're already subscribed, and if you've enjoyed today's video, then be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.
Bye.